The feather on the wind, a thin trail of morning mist, clung to the monastery's stone steps, curling and dissolving as the first golden rays of sunlight crept over the mountains. Somewhere beyond the temple walls, a bamboo chime stirred in the yeo breeze, its hollow notes echoing softly through the crisp air. In the temple courtyard, beneath the ancient cherry tree whose twisted branches stretched like arms toward the sky, a young monk named Kaito sat cross-legged. His shaved head glistened with a faint sheen of sweat despite the coolness of the dawn. His eyes were closed, his breathing measured and slow. The temple's bell had not yet rung for morning prayers. This was his quiet moment, the stillness, before the day awoke. A gentle rustling sound pulled him from his meditation. His eyelids fluttered open. Floating through the cool air, a delicate white feather twisted and danced. Its edges shimmered like silk in the morning light. Kaito's eyes sharpened, his body tensed. Without thinking, he reached for it. But the feather swirled higher, carried by the invisible hand of the wind. It drifted toward the garden path. Kaito stood, his bare feet brushing against the cool stone. His hand stretched toward the feather. Again, and once more, the wind lifted it just beyond his grasp. A flicker of frustration stirred in his chest. He took a step forward, then another. His simple robe whispered around his ankles as he moved, faster now. The feather always one breath out of reach. Kaito. The voice stopped him cold, deep and steady, like the weight of a stone settling on water. Kaito turned to see Master Hiro, standing beneath the temple archway. His face was a mask of calm, the morning light catching the silver strands in his long black hair. His simple gray robe hung loose over his shoulders, and his hands were clasped in front of him. "What are you chasing?" Hiro's gaze was sharp beneath the curve of his hooded eyes. Kaito hesitated, his hand still half raised toward the feather as it drifted beyond the garden wall. I saw it. A feather. It's so light, so delicate. I just wanted to catch. Master Hiro studied him for a moment before walking toward the edge of the courtyard. The morning breeze played with the edges of his robe. Without turning, he said, "And why must you catch it?" Kaito frowned. "Because it's beautiful." And Kaito's mouth opened, but no words came. The feather was still there, caught in an invisible current spiraling higher. "I'll get it," Kaito said suddenly. He took off down the garden path. His bare feet slapped against the cool earth. His breath quickened. The feather danced ahead, twisting and rolling, always just out of reach. He chased it down the narrow stone path, past the koi pond where orange scales flashed beneath the water's surface. He climbed the mossy steps toward the temple gate. His arms stretched forward. The feather darted sideways on a rogue gust of wind. Kaito stumbled. His foot slipped on the damp stone, and he toppled hard onto the ground. A sharp pain flared in his knee. He winced, clutching it. From somewhere behind him, quiet footsteps approached. Master Hiro knelt beside him, his expression unchanged. "Did you catch it?" Kaito's chest heaved as he shook his head. His hands curled into fists. "It's not fair. Every time I got close, the wind would carry it away." Hiro's gaze softened. He reached down and touched Kaito's shoulder. "Come." Kaito limped as he followed his master to the edge of the temple garden. Hiro sat on a smooth stone beneath a maple tree, its crimson leaves trembling in the breeze. Kaito sank down beside him, rubbing his bruised knee. Master Hiro pointed toward the horizon. The valley below stretched wide and green, mist lingering over the rice fields and curling through the clusters of village huts. High above, a single white feather spiraled lazily through the sky. "You cannot control the wind, Kaito." Hiro's voice was low and steady. "Nor can you control the path of a feather caught in its current." "But I almost had it." Kaito's jaw tightened. "If I had just moved a little faster," Hiro shook his head. "Why do you wish to possess it?" Kaito frowned. "Because it was there. I saw it." Hiro smiled faintly. "Ah, and that is why you suffer." Kaito's eyes narrowed. "I don't understand. You believe peace comes from catching the feather." Hiro gestured toward the sky. But peace is not found in grasping. Peace comes when you let go. Kaito followed. Hiro's gaze toward the drifting feather. It bobbed and dipped, floating effortlessly on the breeze. No struggle, no resistance, just drifting. Hiro's voice lowered. Sit. Watch. Kaito settled back, crossing his legs beneath him. He watched the feather without reaching for it. His heart slowed. His breath evened. The feather curled and twisted, following the invisible currents of the air. Kaito's eyes softened. His shoulders relaxed. He let the feather go. Moments passed. The feather spiraled higher, then without warning it drifted downward. Lower, lower still. It came to rest softly at Kaito's feet. His breath hitched. He stared at it. Slowly he reached down and picked it up. The feather felt impossibly light between his fingers. Soft, delicate. Master Hiro smiled. When you stop chasing, what you seek may come to you. Kaito's chest rose and fell as understanding settled within him. He traced his thumb along the edge of the feather before setting it gently on the grass. Hiro stood. Come, morning prayers await. Kaito followed his master toward the temple. His steps were lighter now, his mind quieter. Behind him, the feather lifted once more into the air, caught by the breeze. It spiraled upward, higher and higher, until it vanished into the pale blue sky. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the story. Let me know in the comments what ideas you would like the next story to be about. Please leave a thumbs up, share, subscribe, comment.